For Pacifica Radio, I'm Eileen Alfandary. Israel warned Lebanese residents that it has imposed an overnight curfew from 5 p.m. local time until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. It warned Lebanese not to move across the Litani River in southern Lebanon. Thousands of Lebanese are streaming back to their homes in the south after a ceasefire deal with Israel took effect. Many of them will find their homes and villages utterly destroyed. John Bieber reports.
A ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah has come into effect after more than a year of fighting. Thousands of civilians are returning home to southern Lebanon, despite warnings from the military on both sides not to do so until they're told it's safe. Israel says it retains the right to respond militarily if there are violations of the ceasefire deal. I'm John Beaver.
Lebanon's caretaker economy minister gave an astronomical figure for rebuilding, saying the country will need between $20 and $30 billion. The Biden administration is moving forward with a $680 million weapons sale to Israel. That's according to Reuters, which cited a U.S. official familiar with the plan. The package reportedly includes thousands of joint direct attack munition kits and hundreds of small-diameter bombs. Human rights groups have urged the U.S. to stop sending weapons to Israel, which are used to kill civilians in Gaza. Meanwhile, in the wake of the Lebanon ceasefire, Hamas said it is ready for a ceasefire agreement in Gaza and a serious deal to exchange prisoners. There currently are no talks underway. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham has warned U.S. allies against trying to enforce the International Criminal Court's arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Graham was speaking in Jerusalem, where he called the arrest warrants on charges of war crimes and crimes against humanity a folly.
I am going back to Congress and introduce legislation very soon that would sanction any country that tried to enforce the arrest warrant against Israel. So you could be a close ally, Canada, Britain, France, you name it. If you buy into this arrest warrant as legitimate, then you're going to meet stiff bipartisan resistance in America.
Human rights groups are denouncing France after its foreign ministry said that Netanyahu may have immunity from the court. Human Rights Watch called the French position shocking nonsense and said no one gets immunity from an international criminal court warrant because they're in office. President-elect Donald Trump's incoming border czar, Tom Homan, visited the Texas-Mexico border yesterday. He blamed the Biden administration for what Trump has termed an immigration crisis and vowed to fulfill Trump's planned mass deportations.
Let me be clear. There is going to be a mass deportation because we just finished a mass illegal immigration crisis on the border. We've had enough crime in this country, illegal alien crime. It's time to end it and stop it.
Earlier this month, nearly 200 immigrant and civil rights groups sent a letter to the Biden administration urging it to take immediate action to protect immigrant communities while it still can. The groups asked Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas to close existing detention facilities and halt expansion plans. Private profit-making companies hold 90% of detained immigrants. The coalition also asked the administration to release detained immigrants, starting with particularly vulnerable people with physical and mental health conditions and those eligible for parole. The coalition said people can and should be able to go through their immigration proceedings in community with the support of their loved ones and access to legal support. The International Criminal Court's chief prosecutor has asked judges to issue an arrest warrant for the head of Myanmar's military regime for crimes committed against the country's Rohingya Muslim minority. Senior General Min Aung Hlaing took power after staging a coup against elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi in 2021. He's accused of crimes against humanity for the deportation and persecution of the Rohingya. The general is accused of forcing nearly 1 million people into neighboring Bangladesh to escape an ethnic cleansing campaign involving mass rapes, killings, and the torching of homes. The state of Maine has sued several major oil companies and the American Petroleum Institute to make them pay for deceiving the public for decades about the role of their fossil fuel products in causing climate change. The lawsuit says the fossil fuel industry knew for decades about the potentially catastrophic consequences. The lawsuit said the use of fossil fuels have caused enormous financial burdens, public health impacts, property damage, and other harm across the state of Maine as a result of extreme weather, sea level rise, and warmer temperatures. Maine becomes the 11th state, including California, to take big oil companies to court for their climate deception. I'm Eileen Alfandary for Pacifica Radio.